the position, so we've got to go out there and out-enthuse them. People are playing for places, you know, these experienced lads are going to come back into the squad, so you know there's going to be chances to impress Sean and hopefully get a spot for the bigger games coming up. We know what we're capable of. Obviously we're coming off back of a loss, so we need to try and turn things around and have a good game this weekend. They're coming off the back of a defeat as well at St Helens, so you know they're going to want to put that right going into a week off next week. So yeah, we know it's going to be a tough game, but like I said, we're up for the challenge.
And Huddersfield aiming to avoid a fifth defeat. So 19-year-old George Williams continues at hooker. Alongside him, Dom Crosby makes his first starting appearance in 6. And the big boost is the return of the skipper, Sean O'Loughlin. On the bench, Scott Taylor drops out of the starting 13. Greg Burke gets his first call-up since the beginning of March. He's been playing in the Championship with Workington recently. So, the Wigan Warriors in purple tonight. Two sides playing in unfamiliar colours. There in purple, the Giants look as though they are in white. And here he comes, Sean O'Loughlin leading the side out. It is only his 8th appearance of 2014. Wigan, though, have been proving lately they can win without him. And the Huddersfield Giants, led by the man of steel, Danny Brough, and being welcomed onto the field by a guard of honour from the Slough Saracens Rugby League Club. These are the under-10s. It's a big night for the Giants, it's a big night for them, and it's a big night for Dom Waits. There he is. Dominic is 10 years old today. And the match referee is Ben Thaler. He's the man in the middle. And we were saying in the build-up to this could be very, very fiery. The coaches have been stoking the boilers all week.
Yeah, it should be, and it needs to be as well. Huddersfield, a lot of people were saying perhaps last week against St Helens they weren't giants. In fact, they were calling them a little bit on the soft side. I don't think we'll see that in the opening 10. It has to be rough and tough.
It probably will be. It'll probably be all of that and more. And there's the first challenge of the Wigan Warriors. And it was on the man who is playing a prop forward for Huddersfield for the first time tonight. That's David Fayumu. Luke Robinson is the hooker and at dummy half. He gets the ball away. This is Chris Bailey, returned. He actually has been rested for the last 2. And he returns to the side tonight, halted by the challenge from Gil Dodson.
Well, the loose forward, Chris Bailey, will certainly bring a lot to this Huddersfield Giants pack. Then a lot of aggression. The attitude has got to change. Not the best kick. Right down the throat of Matty Bowen.
Yes, from number 1 to number 1. Griggs' kick to Matty Bowen. And Wigan begin this set of 6 from midway inside their own half of the field.
Interesting to see how the Wigan halfback pair in Matty Smith, Sam Powell. Matty Smith in absolute tremendous form, taking responsibility, of course. Very impressed with this fella, Sam Powell.
Wigan rolling forward, they're up to the halfway line, but it's not been a bad set defensively thus far from the Huddersfield Giants. The impressive young George Williams gets the ball away to Powell, through the hands Smith, and he gets it away as well. Here comes John Bateman, been so impressive, 20 years of age, maybe playing more games this year than Sean Wayne would have wanted, but looking absolutely tremendous in his first season in Wigan colours, and the kick is just a little bit too long and too deep from Sam Powell.
The idea was good, but the break was very effective indeed, but he had the opportunity. John Bateman made the initial break, and on the inside he had Matty Smith. He really could have offloaded, took the option to go on his own.
Jermaine McGillivray will bring it forward. Oh, the legs go up.
There you see the repeat. Look, that Matty Smith really should have got that. He was in clear space.
Second tackle this set of 6. Luke Robinson waits. And the ball comes into centre field again. It's a decent little run from Josh Johnson, 19 years old. First start, 3 substitute appearances previously. Robinson formerly with Wigan, and they get him high. And maybe it was Dom Crosby who got to him first round the neck, and it's a penalty first of the game to the Giants.
Yeah, just a little bit over the top of the shoulder, but it's a smart move by the Giants coach Paul Anderson in putting this man, Luke Robinson, into the hooking role. A lot of people thought perhaps that Sean Lunt should have started the game, but I just get the impression that Lunt is carrying an injury. It's going to take him a while to get back into it.
So here comes again, young Johnson. First appearance since the win at Salford on Good Friday. His former Batley man, of course, is Johnson. And here is Michael Lawrence inside the 20-metre zone. Robinson waits again, then fires the pass. And there is Danny Brough. He dinks it over the top, and that was very well watched over on that far side. Manfredi did really well.
Yeah, good position there, wasn't it? Oh, taking over the horizontal there. Danny Brough got away with it. But that's all about good positioning. And Manfredi certainly read it well. And they've got to be careful, these players. That's about the third we've seen already.
Well, obviously they want to be aggressive and dominating that little tackle. The battle that takes place during every play in a rugby league game. Didn't surprise me that Danny Brough kicked on that point. You know, the first time they played Wigan this year, back in early February, their first 2 tries came from rubber kicks over. And we've seen how strong Wigan's defence has been. The kick through might be a great ploy for them tonight.
Well, that did look like a forward pass from this angle anyway to Sean O'Loughlin, but touch judge and referee allowed it to go.
Well, it looked a lazy pass, didn't it? At best, 50-50.
And the kick is high, but is straight down the neck of Scott Griggs. Here comes Jermaine McGilvray, and let's take a look at the reaction from Paul Anderson from the kick from Danny Brough just a few moments ago. Not too impressed by the looks of things.
Interesting as well, Danny Brough, that was the first time he's touched the ball. Okay, we're only 4 minutes into this match, but that's his second. He normally likes to get the feel of the ball very, very quickly. I know we often say it, but if Danny Brough is on song, then the Giants certainly are.
I think we can credit the Wigan defence so far in this game for just rattling the Giants just a little bit. Every time they go to kick the ball, there's kick pressure. The line speed is really sharp, and these 2 or 3 bodies in every single tackle. There's a real bite in the defence from the Wigan Warriors.
Robinson waits again, and the ball is played by Lawrence. Another chip over the top, but Bowen this time allowing it to hit the ground, and it runs harmlessly dead in goal.
Well, it's amazing. We've seen 3 kicks already, and they've gone for aerial rather than on this slippy surface. It's a new pitch that's been laid down.
Some of the stars, Blake Green on the right, Liam Farrell on the left, who are absent tonight for the Wigan Warriors. And another one there, Josh Charnley, last year's Super League top try scorer, but haven't they papered over the cracks extremely well thus far in Super League this year? This is a drive forward by Crosby, the England Knights international, and Williams will begin another attack here, and Powell, it goes over the shoulder, it's hacked forward by Danny Brough. It's a free play, this, don't forget, and Brough has now lost it. Will the referee bring it back?
No, he says it's play on that got over the advantage line. That's unusual.
Well, maybe the mistake by Matty Smith wasn't a knock on. It went over his shoulders and went backwards. That's why it is not a free play.
That was an example of the sort of defence that John Wells highlighted before the game. The outside players for Huddersfield have to come up hard and early, closing down the time for players like Matthew Smith for Wigan. But interference now in the play of the ball will give Wigan a chance to clear their own half. But a good example, if you want to beat Wigan, you have to cope with all the moving players fastly out wide, and they did that the first time they were asked.
Well, Ben Taylor, the referee, is not going to mess around at the play the ball area, which should give the viewers and the spectators plenty of options to see good rugby league football tonight. There's plenty of stars out there that can certainly give us that option.
Dodson plays the ball to Williams. He then finds Matty Smith. Smith then drops it off to Bateman once again.
There's nothing better, Bateman, to run out on that right-hand side. This is a good build-up.
Crosby taking it forward to the 20-metre mark. 3 tackles left in the bank here for the Wigan Warriors. They go centre field with Matty Smith. Smith then gives it to Bateman again. He tries to go round Wardle. Brough is there. So too is Ferris. It takes 3 of them to bring him down.
Short blindside's on.
And Williams waiting again, finds O'Loughlin. He turns it into centre field once more. Powell gets it away to Bowen. Bowen gives it here to Anthony Gelling. And eventually they get Gelling down. Here comes the last tackle for the Wigan Warriors. And Bowen is 5 metres away. It's with Powell. He jinks away from Robinson. He sees a hole opened up. It's a penalty. I think it's an obstruction. And Ben Thaler gives the obstruction penalty on his own account. He doesn't need to wait for a try to be scored and hand it upstairs to the video referees. But where was it?
It was Sean O'Loughlin.
Yeah, but Sean O'Loughlin wasn't moving. He was just stood there.
It was in front of the man, wasn't it? It's not American football. You can't run behind your own players.
Let's have a word with Stuart Cummings about that.
Probably more to say, really. Phil's got it absolutely right. It's almost like a basketball screen. He's blocked him coming from the side. He's in front of him. He can't do it.
Well done, Ben Thaler. He made his own mind up without referring it upstairs. First penalty of the match for obstruction, but the third in all. And Steve-O, you'd be delighted with that because you were calling for all that on Backchat, that the referees took responsibility into their own hands.
Yeah, and you've got to say, I mean, Ben Thaler's a very, very experienced referee. But I'm not so sure that he got it right. We all have our own opinion. But at least he didn't go upstairs, which is good.
This is Kyle Wood waiting at dummy half, just inside the Wigan half of the field. Brough gets the ball wide to Ferris. Solid line of Wigan defence yet again. Crosby is there, Smith is there. They're a bit entangled with Ferris.
I'm just going to say, Eddie, it's been a feature. Now, this is a better bomb. This is going to be awkward. They're all over the place. What a take.
Yes, wonderful take. Brilliant take by Joe Burgess. Belying his tender years of 19, isn't he?
I tell you what, any youngster watching that, look at his attitude. There was no one else going to get that ball. Had his eyes on it at all time. Didn't worry about the oncoming traffic. You're right, Eddie. He is a classy player.
Hughes will get to his feet, will play the ball. And, well, Williams deciding to take 3 of them on. And down he goes. Matty Bowen is there then now. Bright orange boots on Matty Bowen. O'Loughlin got the ball away.
Good
and
defense.
Hughes will pick himself up.
Good defense by Kyle Wood. He's having to do a lot of that. That's better. Push it away. Just a bit too strong, is it? No. Great kick from Matty Smith. Look at the chase. Outstanding.
Well, good chase, but excellent work also from Aaron Murphy from behind his own line. We all thought that was going dead, but Murphy picked it up and made 10, 12 good meters.
Yeah, you can see the turf, the new turf is very lush indeed.
It's a fascinating battle breaking out for mine in the defensive aspect. Look at the numbers. Wigan 3-4 into the vast majority of tackles. They have a higher percentage of tacklers into collision. Only a 1 on that occasion. That's because Luke Robinson's has stepped out of collision. It's a battle there that the energy systems will be tested at some point late in the game, because the third man has to go all the way back in the line. Look, there could have been 3 in that. There could have been 4. They only chose 2. There's 2 separate systems.
Wigan beginning this set of 6 from deep inside their own half of the field. Manfredi will go down eventually.
It's been solid defence. It certainly was missing, wasn't it, from the Giants? Good run though by this fella.
Yes, Darryl Goulding gets them over halfway at the end of tackle number 2. Williams again picks the ball off the ground, finds Bowen to Bateman then to O'Loughlin. Great ball from him to Manfredi, and he's in support as O'Loughlin, and Sean O'Loughlin crowns his return to the Wigan side with the first try of the match. Great hands down that right-hand side from the Wigan Warriors, from the champions, from the double winners of 2013. He's missed the last 5. This is his first appearance since Easter Monday. It's only his 8th appearance of the year, Sean O'Loughlin. It's his 5th try of 2014.
Tremendous work on that short blind side. Fullback Matty Bowen coming through, and the offload from Bateman. Nice little step there. Look at the positional play by the skipper. Sean O'Loughlin, it's all about support play. He gets through so much hard work in defence, but this is sheer quality. Quick hands, back on the inside. Youngster did well. He knows he's in for the TRY.
Yeah, good stuff from Sean O'Loughlin. Try here tonight. And if you look in the record books, you will see he got a try here in 2006 as well. It was Brian Noble's first game in charge of Wigan, and Sean O'Loughlin has given the Warriors a 4-point advantage. It's been pretty tight and pretty close in the opening exchanges, but then Wigan with slick hands down the right-hand side, and Matty Smith now with the opportunity to slot over the first successful conversion of the night. 39 goals from 59 attempts thus far, 66% success rate. It's a question of practice, practice, practice for Matty Smith this year, as he's taken over from Pat Richards in this department. And practice seems to be making perfect.
Well, the scoreboard ticking over in favour of the Wigan Warriors. Sharp play, good hands, everybody in the right position, beautiful vision, and as always with Wigan, support back on the inside. But for me, the battle is being won in the defensive aspect. Wigan are controlling the collision, thus the speed of the play, the ball, and they're winning the battle when they want to take the ball forward.
Last week, Huddersfield lost the game in the first 15 minutes when they played St Helens. They've conceded the first try here. We're going to see mentally how strong they are here in the next 6 players. Can they cope with what we're going to throw at them? This is a very, very important minute.
Yes, and what is being thrown at them at the moment is a run from Anthony Gelling, who certainly seems to be growing in stature week by week for Wigan. This is his 7th consecutive appearance. He scored 5 tries in his last 6. And O'Loughlin this time is going nowhere, because those 3 will see to that. Fayumu, Lawrence, and also in there was a 3rd defender as well.
Well, that little short pass that Wigan are utilising is becoming extremely effective. Oh, good run by Williams, but you know, the defence has only really just fallen asleep on the Giants side on that one occasion, and it was all brought about by the fullback Matty Bowen just linking in, adding that extra man. That's why they scored the first try.
McGilvray will play the ball to Kyle Wood. Here comes Leroy Cudjoe. Robinson directs Wood to get out of the dummy half roll and puts him in the centre of the field next to Danny Brough, but Brough goes away from him, and here is Aaron Murphy. 14.5 minutes gone then. First try of the match to the Wigan Warriors. Won here the first week of the playoffs last September, 22 points to 8. And it actually means that Wigan have won 4 of the last 5 visits to this John Smith Stadium.
Well, it's a shame we couldn't get the offload there. The opportunity certainly was there for Fayumu.
He goes to the air again off the left boot of Danny Brough. Bowen is after this and claims it perfectly, and Brough following up with Joe Wardle brings the Wigan full-back to ground.
Great take and good play by Danny Brough. Could have been just enticed into diving in, just touching him while I was in the air. His timing was perfect.
This is where the Huddersfield Giants get themselves back into the game. They're in the right area of the field, get off your line fast, get bodies in the tackle, and try and match Wigan at what they do very well. You can see there Wigan winning collision. The markers are not set. That's where the game's being won and lost, in the fractions.
Matty Smith, they're sweeping the ball from right to left. Another great run from Jack Hughes.
This is very impressive. The quick hands from Wigan. Very impressive indeed.
Smith again takes the aerial route. Murphy's underneath it. And Bateman was following up. No, it wasn't. Bateman was Darryl Goulding. Too many beards out there.
I must say that the discipline from both sides has been excellent. You know, sometimes you just lose the plot, try to, especially when they know that chasing a high ball, just make the contact before he's actually taken it in mid-air.
Crabtree has emerged from the bench, the big fellow. Earl Crabtree, next try for him would be the 70th of his career, over 350 appearances now for the Huddersfield Giants, his only club. And there is an Earl Crabtree mask watching from the sideline.
They need him to help the side go forward more than score tries, I would say, Eddie. And in that set, really, they did struggle. They went wide, didn't they, when they're not going forward? And that's always the danger in rugby. You're trying to go around your opponents before you've pushed them backwards a little bit. There's a problem, but we're going end to end, haven't we, for the last few minutes here. and the Giants stay with that here. Wigan used their outside backs very successfully to get the team going forward. They asked them to be as tough and brave as the forwards, and you've just seen here with another penalty conceded, they've got to get out to their own half rather easily.
That's exactly why Wigan are dominating this game in the early stages. They won every collision when Huddersfield returned the ball on the previous set. 2 plays from Wigan Warriors on the kick return, and both outside backs, 1 collision and got through the line. Just poke your head through, get knees and elbows, get the other side of the line, and then marker's not square, you get your penalty.
Yeah, Josh Johnson just couldn't get out of the way of that play the ball, and that's why the penalty was given. He has to roll away, get the ruck area clear, but he didn't, and that's why Wigan again are on the front foot, midway inside the Huddersfield half of the field. Big collision. Hughes though gets the ball away to Burgess. Burgess tries to bump Wood off. The reinforcements came across. Good job they did as well. Hughes this time off the ground, and he finds Sam Powell. There is O'Loughlin. Here is Smith. Good hands again. Bowen with the drop of the shoulder. Oh, missed tackles everywhere. Missed tackles everywhere. And Bowen gets the second Wigan try.
Brilliant. And not just the finish either. The quick hands that these young Wigan players are producing. Little wonder that the supporters are in heaven. Well, that was sheer quality as the finish, but the build-up fully deserved it. This is a penalty. Johnson never made any attempt to get out of the way. Quick hands, watch this. Dummy runner, right into the gap, not into the man. Step, catch me if you can. Bowen's the man.
I think this try was scored on the kick return. It was brilliant to see the penalty. That started it because Wigan are winning collision. I love to see attacking rugby league and players like Matty Bowen scoring tries of that quality, picking up a little bit of a facial for his troubles. Well, let's credit the Wigan defence. That's where they're dominating this game.
Well, a great try from Matty Bowen, but 4 missed tackles by the Huddersfield defenders, some 5-6 metres from their own line. You can't do that against any team. You can't do that against a team of the quality of the Wigan Warriors.
Not in this mood, Eddie. You're absolutely spot on.
So Matty Smith with the opportunity to add another 2 points. This for a 12-0 lead. And it was almost academic that Smith would kick that. And I must say, in the aftermath of that try, Danny Brough was shaking his head and looking absolutely crestfallen at these missed tackles in defence.
Well, they've probably practiced all week. They know that they cannot allow Wigan to break through tackles as easy as that. That's the least they must do. Prevent Wigan from going forward and scoring in a simple manner like that. And if they don't do that, well, they've conceded 2 tries. A third might prove too much for them. He's determined here now. They're not going to roll over and die that easily. And what Wigan are doing, I suppose, is converting the dominance in this opening quarter. When you look at the breaks made, the meters and the tackle success, you'd expect them to be ahead by 8 to 10 points, and they clearly are. They've converted their opportunities into tries, and somehow Huddersfield need to reverse what's happening with the stats.
Yeah, it's been very impressive by the visitors, Wigan, and the ability to share the workload. You know, a lot of the 3 quarters are taking it, giving their forwards a bit of a rest, putting their body around. Looks like he's picked up a bit of a problem, Jack Hughes.
This is Crosby. We saw in the aftermath of that try there was a little bit of a tug on the chin of Matty Bowen by Brett Ferris, but he's none the worse for the experience, the Australian. And that's Matty Smith. Good kick. He tempted Griggs to come forward and take that on the fly, but then the ball bounced and Griggs had to retreat. And look at the chase from Wigan again. Well, they're heading for the top of the second spot in the table tonight with the game in hand, the way this is panning out. 12-0 to the double winners, and tomorrow we'll see the league leaders. They go to Warrington. This is a mouth-watering match. 7:30 here on Sky Sports 1 again tomorrow night. Warrington Wolves against the Leeds Rhinos. Brough gets the ball away to Ferris. Oh, and you got to put the hand round the man. Fling the ball down to the ground. No one following up in support.
Well, he really should have offloaded. and is given a knock on. This should be head and feet to the Huddersfield Giants.
And it is.
Good work, though, by Don Manfredi. Put himself in between. We've been a little bit too critical of Ferris not offloading to the winger, but...
Well, that was Taylor's first touch, but Stuart, I couldn't see a knock-on.
I thought he threw the ball against himself and it went backwards off. I think Robert Hicks has picked up that it's come off a Wigan player, but I'm not so sure on first look. I think he just throws it against himself and back, and, you know, I think that should have been play on.
Well, maybe it just dinked off the toe and went forward, and maybe that was the optical illusion.
You know what Wigan have done well, Eddie, and they have in recent games, we've seen them, is preventing the opening 20 minutes their opponents having a chance to attack near their own try line. Now, this is a very rare starting set of 6 tackles inside Wigan's half of the field, and in fact, when you look at it here now, 2 of them have already gone here, and they're still 40 metres so, but Larn Patrick gets them the closest they've been for a long time.
Yeah, good run as well from the substitute. They really need to lift their spirits now. That's a good run by Bailey. Good offload as well, and they're there.
Yes, they are, and they're there in the shape of Larn Patrick. And Patrick gets Huddersfield. Well, this is the closest they've been, really. 4 tackles gone. They're 5 metres away from the line. Robinson finds Brough over the top. A booming pass. Great ball from Brough. And great try from Murphy. Just what Paul Anderson would have demanded. But it was a beautiful pass from Danny Brough. And Aaron Murphy, on the end of it, gets try number 5 of 2014. Now that, for the neutrals, is exactly what we wanted. That will make more of a game of it. There's no doubt about it. The first time Huddersfield threatened, and they score.
And this is the incident where it has not been picked up. I agree, it probably came off Ferris. Either way, he's not happy, but Paul Anderson will be. Brough's pass is superb. You can see that I'm afraid Don Manfredi was left in no man's land. Goulding should have come out wide. He left his winger completely open and take nothing away from Murphy. That's a great finish and a wonderful pass from the man of steel, Danny Brough.
Well, he's inching towards 50 tries in his career as Aaron Murphy. He's now on 49, and this is an important kick from the man of steel, and he's kicked it. So Huddersfield are back in the hunt. It was apparently moving away from them at some pace, but they're back in it now. 6-12.
Well, it took a huge slice of luck to gain field position with a penalty and a piece of absolute brilliance from Danny Brough. Not many players in the world of rugby league can have and use vision like we've just seen on our screens. Picked out the defence coming up and in and hit his winger, who scored without a finger being laid on him.
So Danny Brough's pass and Aaron Murphy's try has given the Giants some hope, but you have to say there's an element of luck about that try. There was no knock-on against Wigan. They got the head and feet of the scrum, did the Giants, and they made full use of it. Down to Bill.
Eddie, Sean Lunt has just joined the fray for the Huddersfield Giants, the 3rd change in quick succession that Paul Anderson has made, and they've all had an impact. They've all helped the Giants turn the tide here. Crabtree was the first of them, then Larn Patrick, one of the players who popped up in that last contribution to the try, and now Sean Lunt coming on to buzz around them as well. So the Giants just seem to have upped things a little bit. Definitely from pitch side, the appearance seemed to be in the early stages. They were second best in terms of pace. They seem to have picked up a bit of pace now.
Yeah, Bill's spot on, Eddie, in regards to the fact, you know, Larn Patrick, his 2 drives, and that'll be a penalty, his 2 drives, as soon as he came onto the field of play, you could just see this Giants side lift. And that's messing around.
Again, that looks a little harsh, if I'm honest, Stuart.
Well, I think Leroy Kudjoy is actually moving forward into George Willis. But, you know, again, I think that's an unlucky penalty.
Well, they made hay while the sun shone after the knock-on decision just a few minutes ago. Can they do it again here? Oof. And that pass off the deck from Lunt to Crabtree was questionable. And George Williams had his arm trapped underneath Crabtree. Here's Lunt. Here's Wood. Now it's Brough again. Short ball this time to Joe Wardle.
And good, better defence there by Daniel Goulding. Remember, when they conceded the try to Murphy, Goulding came in on the angle, not on that occasion.
Big Earl will trundle it forward again. The blonde locks flowing in the breeze behind him. 3 purple jerseys, though, come in and halt the progress. Lunt now from dummy half, gets the ball away!
Can't get it down.
Can't get it down. The ball's free, and eventually it's touchdown.
It's a knock-on, and he'll go upstairs. But boy, it was a good run. Went very, very close indeed.
Well, Richard Silverwood, the video referee, the camera's being operated, or at least the replay's being operated by Ian Smith.
I think this is the point of the decision. Does he get the ball down? It isn't stripped, it isn't stolen, he just loses that ball forward. So this should be a fairly straightforward decision for the video referee.
Lon Patrick struggling to get the ball down, but he has lost it.
The decision is no try, 20-metre restart, knock on.
So near yet so far again for the Giants.
But when you talk about defence, most of the time we think about making tackles, but preventing your opponents from grounding it when they get over the try line is the ultimate sign of defence, and Scott Taylor did really well then, didn't he? Because he knew Lon Patrick's unbelievable at getting 4 points when his side need it, but he did enough to prevent him from grounding it, and that really would have given some hope and confidence, I think, back to the Huddersfield supporters.
O'Loughlin will carry the battle forward, gets as far as Crabtree and brings him down. That was Williams. He lays the ball off again to Scott Taylor. A moment or two he was in defence. Here he is in attack now with Wigan. Williams once again. A delayed pass and a knock-on by Matty Smith.
Well, they've just gone to sleep slightly, haven't they, Wigan? They raced away to a 12-0 lead. And you could see there that the youngster Sam Powell took his eyes off the ball, looked at the defence coming towards him. Shake of the head. It just shows you, though, that the good run from Lon Patrick got them in a good field position. You need that position to apply any sort of pressure.
Absolutely right, Mike. And I think as a coach, well, I know as a coach what you would like when you make a substitution, that there's an impact, an instant impact. First quarter of this game for me was all the Wigan Warriors. They're now looking a little bit rattled. A couple of things have gone against them. They're going to be tested, and we know that Wigan can handle that aspect of the game. But Wigan battered the Huddersfield middle unit in the first quarter. The change from coach Paul Anderson has brought some size and some strength, some power, and that's where now Huddersfield are fighting back.
Well, Paul Anderson looks like he might be getting excited because the Giants are suddenly on the front foot. This is Kyle Wood. Tried to go in between O'Loughlin and Hughes. Lunt is waiting, wants to get on with it, and does, and finds the man in the middle, which is Bailey, who he in turn finds Brough. This is Cudjoe now, and Cudjoe trying to resist the challenge. Bateman comes in to help out Matty Smith, and a stern face from Sean Wayne knows his team are under the cosh here slightly, as Patrick takes it forward again. Bateman quickly in and traps the ball to the man, brings him down. Lunt changes the direction. Ferris, can he use his strength? Well, he can, but there's 4 purple jerseys there, and he is held up short. Sean Lunt once again. Danny Brough will go to the aerial route, and, well, it's not the best. It was easily picked out of the sky by Gelling. And the touch judge is on this near side. Tim Roby has seen something and wants a word with Ben Thaler.
I think he's seen an obstruction by Sam Powell on the run-through.
Just a minute, go away. That.
One in front of the kick.
Yeah.
Contact with the chaser with his arm out as well.
So he's deliberately blocked him out. Okay, Sam's gone through. No, Sam's gone through.
It's going to be a penalty to Huddersfield here.
Well, he's certainly got in front of him, hasn't he, Powell? And I suppose you're allowed to use your shoulder, and they look to be both running in the same way, but the movement of the arm is definitely obstructed him.
In that case, he has to get in front of the catcher, and he has to be stationary, and that's what he didn't do.
Well, they've gone backwards, Huddersfield, to come forwards.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? How pre-programmed players have to be to start with a tap penalty that's 10 metres in rather than 15. But still, they've used 2 of the players there now, and here's the big attacking one.
It is, and it's via Kumatai. The Tongan international is off the bench. He'll play it to Lunt. Lunt will go himself, and Lunt, I think, will get this down. Or has he? It's another decision for Richard Silverwood. There's been a clash of heads, I think, as well there by a Wigan defender, but Lunt believes, you can tell by his body language, he believes he's got this down, Stuart.
I think they're also looking to see whether there he might have used his own man going through. Was there an obstruction? I don't think there was. I think he got through the line. So it's just depending on the grounding, I think.
So just to explain that, Stuart, the number 17, the white jersey, the man who plays the ball, pushing defenders out the way is what they're looking for.
That's right. Or does he actually use him to push through? Now he's played the ball, the marker's moved out the way, he moves through the gap, he can't do any more than that. He's out of the way, he doesn't stop anyone tackling, so that should be fine. It's just all down to the grounding now.
I'm just looking to make sure that's the marker in front. I'm not going to ground it.
Well, you might be interested to know that while we are watching this and the video referees are making the decision, Danny Brough is lining up the conversion attempt.
It
He
should be
believes
given.
it's a try.
So do I.
And the decision is try.
So Lunt began the match on the bench. Lunt has come off, and this run of try scoring from him, 4 in the last 6 prior to tonight, has continued. And what's more, the Giants could be level after this kick.
Well, it was a feeble attempt by Powell, but he was still penalised from it. And Lunt, he spins away, he should have been stopped. But that was a crafty move, wasn't it? See how he spins away, gets it down, he knew.
And Brough makes no mistake from that range, and we're back all square, 12 apiece. Game on at the John Smith Stadium.
It's amazing, isn't it? Remember, it was the knock-on by Sam Powell, it went behind, and then Matty Smith knocked on, gave the Giants a go, and the substitute, Sean Long, has brought them back level.
You've just seen the view that the referee Ben Thaler had of that incident. He obviously knew that Sean Lunt had got the ball down, but the big question was whether Okuma Tai was interfering, the man who had played the ball. The video referees decided he wasn't, and hence the try stands. 12-all then, just 31 minutes on the clock.
I think the Giants have already worked out in this game the best way to defend your try line against the Wigan Warriors is to attack there. They got down the other end somewhat fortuitously with a couple of penalties, but the lesson must be learned. Complete your set. They've got to get something on the back end of their kick for me. It's not been the best aspect of their game so far. A much improved kicking game will only serve great service to the Huddersfield Giants.
And I must give a lot of credit there to Ben Thaler, the referee. He could have given a penalty, but they were on the roll, and has given the Giants that ability. This is going to be a high kick. It looks a bit too long.
Yes, it is. It's easy for Burgess. But a good chase nonetheless.
And the score's turned around all because of the possession. You know, Huddersfield have had 5 sets more than their opponents. They've started to make breaks. They've evened up the meters in that last 11 minutes since we looked at these key performance indicators. And of course, they've evened up the scoreboard. You know, there's some big rematches in sport. Frock against Groves is the biggest one, I suppose, on Sky this weekend. But in a way, this is a rematch from round 1, the very start of Super League this season, when Huddersfield went to Wigan and embarrassed the Warriors. Wigan came out here determined, didn't they, with the start of this match to put that right. And all of a sudden, we've had a good 10-minute fight back here from Huddersfield.
O'Loughlin gets a short ball away. I don't know whether it was meant to be short to Taylor, but
No, it wasn't.
he snaked the left arm out and held on to it. Matty Smith here under a bit of pressure will kick, and only into the arms of Jermaine McGilvray, and back come the Giants.
What we saw in the opening 15 minutes, superb handling by Wigan. And really, the tactics now is to just get back to basics. Just good, solid defence, trundle up the big forward, get him into a good position, because their coach, Sean Wayne, is fully aware that they are not getting possession in the right place.
Here goes Joe Wardle, he's got Danny Brough in support! And Danny Brough is clawed to the ground by 2. What a chase back by those 2. And what a great bit of defence on his own line as well.
Manfredi, it was a freakish.
Over for the try. Huddersfield from 12-0 down, hit the front. 12-16 it is now. Joe Wardle with the try. Manfredi and Burgess, the 2 wingers, cut Brough down. They delayed the inevitable, and Wardle just dived over the line.
Boy, Paul Anderson, the coach, should be so happy with this. Wardle, what a wonderful handoff. He did everything to try to get over there. It was only a matter of time. Manfredi got underneath. How on earth did he they stop Ferris? It's beyond belief, but they're just run out of numbers. And Wardle puts the Giants in front for the first time in this game. It's game on.
The substitutions for me have made the difference. That's when Huddersfield started to dominate in the middle of the field. The extra power, the extra pace. They're now playing with the patience that I hoped they would have done. That discipline to make that pass and make it stick.
3 tries in 10 minutes for Huddersfield has turned this game on its head. Now then, can Brough make it the perfect 6? Yes, he can. 18-12 to the Giants.
Well, some things change and some things don't. Last year, Huddersfield finished at the top of the table because they had the best left-sided attack in the competition. Brough, Ferris, Wardle have again created and finally scored this try. Down the far side of the field from where the cameras are tonight, Huddersfield look to try and play the best attacking players, and they've really challenged down Wigan's defenders on the far side. They'll continue to do it because they're having some success.
Well, maybe this match is bucking the trend, because here's a statistic that might just encourage the Wigan fans. Over the course of the years, matches between these two tend to go the way of the travelling team. Of the last 10, just 2 have been won by the home side. At the moment, with 5 to go to half-time, the home side have hit the front.
And it's all been brought about by Paul Anderson. And boy, that looked like a lifting elbow, didn't it, from the big fella Earl Crabtree. But the ability to bring on those substitutes at the crucial moment. They were down 12-0. Boy, that looked at a lifted elbow again.
Well, it's his non-ball carrying arm, which is always the problem, and it's gone straight in the face of Darryl Goulding.
And in that tackle you just saw there that Crabtree was involved in. Now then, it's out on the full.
He nearly caught Manfredi out there. Manfredi was very slow to get back in the start of it, and he's hoping that it hits a whitewash.
It's a very late call.
It's a perfect kick. They've got to go back, surely.
Surely they have to.
They've got to go back for this, surely.
That is a brilliant kick.
They'll go back.
He's happy. Danny Brough is more than happy. He didn't wait until the last. He kicked on the 4th, and he just caught Manfredi out.
Yeah, but it's not a 40-20. He's just relieved that it's not ball back, Mike.
Doesn't matter. He knows a positional sense. If that had been gone there, they would have been put under pressure just before half-time.
Well, Paul Anderson led the applause for the referee, the touch judge, and did he get a word in his ear from the video referee once we saw that replay?
Well, that was the only outcome, really. They would have seen the replay, and, you know, quite rightly, in my view, they've seen the decision was wrong, and they've gone back and got the right decision, which is what we all want.
Here, absolutely. 4 minutes to half-time. Wigan could have been on the attack inside the Huddersfield half of the field. As it is, here they are, 12 metres inside their own half, and that ball has come free, and that's a penalty.
Yeah, silly play. Luntz, too experienced to have done something like that when he knows that they're getting involved.
Well, without getting too involved in the technical wrestling that went on there, they couldn't put Sean O'Loughlin on his back, even though there were 3 defenders. I think that's the reason why in the end they conceded the penalty.
I did say earlier that the best way against Wigan to defend your try line is to attack theirs. An error from the Huddersfield Giants. They didn't have the patience and discipline to stay alive in that tackle and do the right thing completely. They may pay the price.
And Jack Hughes here gets another penalty because there's wrestling on the ground. And Michael Lawrence trying to delay and got penalised. So this is a huge opportunity for Wigan. They have another set of 6, 5 metres out. Williams gets the ball to Powell. Powell then short to O'Loughlin. Can they put him down this time? Yes, they can. Sean Wayne.
Matty Smith's the key factor on this one.
Here he is, Smith.
Oh, great defence.
Yes, Scott Griggs saw to it that Smith wasn't going anywhere, and he just held on for maybe a fraction too long. Ben Thaler's patience holds. That's good work by Cudjoe. He shot out of the line. Ready to stop Bowen.
Superb play.
Gelling comes the short side. Cudjoe again.
This will be the kick in it. Will they go to the corner?
So that's tackle coming up here. It's with Williams. Now it's with Powell. Here is Matty Smith. He tries to drift it into the middle. It bounces kindly for Brough. He's got work to do. He's got work to do. And he does it, does Danny Brough.
Brilliant. He read that play.
Blake Green's getting excited. Here goes Aaron Murphy. Burgess again. Oh, the collision. And Murphy is flat out. Clash of heads.
He tried to step back on the inside, and you can see there.
You have to wince when you see that.
Murphy and Burgess. That is one heck of a collision.
You've got to give a knock on there, haven't you?
You've got to give them credit to get the numbers back. Good work by Burgess, but it's a painful tackle.
I didn't really see.
Well, Burgess looks as though he's survived. A-OK. We're just slightly concerned about Aaron Murphy here.
What about his speed from Burgess? Because Bowen didn't seem to be getting there, and he came a long way, didn't he? I'm not sure whether Aaron Murphy was aware that Joe Burgess had caught him so quickly.
Goodness me, Phil, how fast were those two players going when that impact, that contact head to face happened? They're absolutely at full tilt. I don't know whether we could ever measure that in miles per hour, but they're in fifth gear and flying, and the first point of contact is head to head.
Stuart, there's an interesting decision here for Ben Thaler, because the ball came out and really he's got no other option, has he, but to give a knock on.
No, it's got to be a knock on. The tackle wasn't complete. He didn't lose it after the collision. It's as a result of that. It's unfortunate, but you know, we have to stick with the laws.
And what's more, for Huddersfield, they have a problem here, because Murphy was certainly looking a little unconscious and groggy, so he has to leave the field to be assessed.
Yeah, they're doing the right thing. You can see the concern in the coach, Paul Anderson's face. They're doing the safety first, and that's what they've got to do as well.
So it is a Wigan scrum. Ben Thaler had no option other than to give that. The tackle was not completed, and the ball came out of the grasp of Aaron Murphy. So here come Wigan with a minute and a half to go in this first half, trailing by 6. Can they level it up before the half-time siren? Well, they're going to piggyback down the field here on the back of this penalty.
This is where Huddersfield really have to think hard. Concentration is the key factor. They want to go in with that 6-point lead at half-time. They don't need to concede.
Jack Hughes takes it forward. They're inching ever closer to the Huddersfield line. Remember, Wigan were 12 up. Huddersfield have got the game back in their own hands with 3 tries in 10 minutes. Here is Bateman. He spins away from Okumatai. Can't get away from Bailey, who was the next man in, all along Patrick. There's an entanglement of legs as he gets to his feet. Williams, short ball from him. This is Jordan James. He goes down.
Bowen is linking. He wants to go out onto the left-hand side.
And he's come that way now, because here is Matty Smith. Back it comes. Here is O'Loughlin. Wide they come to Burgess. Job here for the defenders. And the defenders do the job well.
Brilliant by Griggs. Put his body on the line.
O'Loughlin off the fingertips of Bowen. Off the fingertips of Bowen. Huddersfield have got it back in the shape of Lon Patrick.
They should close it down now. Not happy, Sean Wayne. They've got an opportunity.
That was a scattered defence. They couldn't possibly have been back the 10. Referee doesn't blow the whistle. And a drop ball by Griggs. If the ground could open up and swallow him, he'd be happy. 5 seconds to the break.
Well, they got it. They got the scrum. They got the formation down. Just 4 seconds to go. Surely this is a feed and a kick. Now then.
Well, anything could happen.
Well, normally the fullback, and there he is, Scott Griggs. Normally he would stand in the front line in defence. I think at this point in time, he may be better served dropping back slightly.
But he hasn't.
This could be a kick over the top.
It is, and it's high down to this left-hand side. That's too long, though. No, it's not too long, actually. Burgess and McGilvray were tussling. The ball bounces harmlessly over the sideline. Well, an enthralling first half. It looked like it was one-way traffic. Wigan streaked into a 12-0 lead in the opening 18 minutes. O'Loughlin on his return and Matty Bowen on his return. But then Huddersfield got going. Murphy, Lunt and Wardle with 3 tries in 10 minutes, each one improved by Danny Brough. It's 18-12 at half-time. Well, a belting first half we've seen here at the John Smith Stadium. Huddersfield in the First Utility Super League. Half-time, Huddersfield 18, Wigan Warriors 12. That's the major statistic. What do the other stats tell us? Here's Phil.
Well, you could almost draw the first 40 minutes and split it into two, because for the first 20, Wigan were excellent. Just look, they had more of the possession and they controlled it up to the fifth tackle, kicking on their terms. 5 penalties conceded by both sides, very even as we went. But look, the amount of possession swung in favour of Huddersfield as the time went on from the top to the bottom of that line, and the scoreboard changed as a result. If we look at the key performance indicators, this is performance gauge gives us an indication of what really matters in rugby league. And for the first 20 minutes, Huddersfield didn't make a single break. They'd also made 100 metres less than Wigan halfway through that first 40, but they've soon caught that up and gone past it. You know, Wigan have missed 15 tackles so far. That's a big surprise. Last week, they had a tackle success rate against Salford of 97%. They're going to have to improve if they want to win this one. The Giants deservedly ahead.
So Huddersfield to win, say the stats. Huddersfield to win, say those people, I'm sure, in the Huddersfield colours. But what do the men in white think about things at the start of this second half? It's going to be Huddersfield who'll get us going for the second 40 minutes. Danny Brough with the left foot. And, well, it didn't actually take Powell off his feet, but Powell slipped as he tried to trap that, and Jordan James will take it forward.
There's no better way than to go in at half-time after you've been 12 points down. You come back, you've taken the lead, 6 points in front now, and you really have your confidence as high as possible. The defence has been a lot better than what we saw from the Giants last week, but once they got moving, some of their attacking play, outstanding. And that defence again, good work from Brough and Ferris.
Yes, making sure that Bateman couldn't get any progress forward. Crabtree doing the same on Jordan James. They're 10 metres inside their own half. Wigan, this is the last tackle. Smith with the kick, under pressure from Akuma Tai. And the ball has bounced horribly for Lawrence soon. It's come off the knee of Burgess, and this could be a try for Wigan, a try out of nothing. If that has come off the knee of Burgess, this is play on. It was an awful bounce, and it fooled Jermaine McGilvray. All ends up on that far side. Stuart.
Well, the first thing to look for is whether he's onside or not. You know, it was a deep pass back, but you can see from that shot that they all look to be behind the play. Certainly the 3 chases on the outside. So it looks like we're okay for the onside from the kick. So we should move forward to check to see whether or not it comes off the hand or the knee of Joe Burgess. Certainly Huddersfield weren't in possession of the ball, so there's no chance of the ball being knocked on from Huddersfield. Or was he?
Well, they're debating about who knocked on first here, I think, aren't they? I think they've accepted it's touched both of the players' hands.
So Joe Burgess definitely gets his hands to it, so it's how he comes out. Is it a knock-on by McGilvray or is it a knock-on by Burgess? That'll be the debate that the video referees are having.
But it looked like McGilvray had pouched the ball, and then a knee just came up and nudged it out. Here we go.
No try, it's a knock-on by Wigan. It's a Huddersfield scrum.
So no try, and it was a knock-on by Burgess.
Yeah, he gets a fingertip to it. McGilvray even gets to it a second time, but that has got to be deemed as a knock-on. Video referee got it spot on. He knows how close he was to scooping that ball up.
It was nearly a sensational start then to the second half by Wigan. And I think that is an abject lesson. When the ball is in the air, try and catch it on the fall, because Jermaine McGilvray allowed it to bounce. I don't suppose he had any option really, because it was such a well-placed kick, but the ball bounced on its tip and caused all sorts of problems for him. Here, meanwhile, is Bailey.
Yeah, it was a good kick by Matty Smith. He was put under a lot of pressure as well.
Oh, and they've got a penalty here. Have the Giants. Ball stolen by Williams. Let's get down to Bill. Sorry, Steve. Oh, Bill.
Yeah, the first the news of Aaron Murphy, who thankfully is back in the Huddersfield Giants dugout, but looking very, very groggy indeed after that collision of heads with Joe Burgess towards the end of the first half. Murphy obviously won't be coming back on for Paul Anderson's side, but otherwise the Giants coach really happy with the way his side responded in that first half. Lyon Patrick, the man out there with no number on the back of his shirt, one of the contributory factors. Sean Wayne, you saw him there, positively volcanic in the tunnel at half-time after he emerged from the dressing room. I just heard the last few words of his address to his side, and he really was firing into them. And I think he was firing something into the match officials as well, or wanted to, because he was not happy with the way that game was refereed at times in the first half. But we'll probably hear more about that post-match.
It's the last tackle coming up here for Huddersfield. They're 3 metres away, and Grick slides the kick in. It ricochets everywhere, and eventually the man who picks it up, or at least drops on it for Wigan, is Scott Taylor.
Yeah, not the best kick through. Really could have been a lot more forceful. Oh, that is a hospital job.
It was. He did well to hang on to it, Burgess. Here goes Gelling, though.
Real chance now for the Giants to dominate defensively. They've got the right field position. Clean, methodical, into contact. These three in, they're dominating, they're turning the man over. Be patient, be strong, and pressure the kicker.
Here's Taylor again to try and work the ball forward for Wigan. Huddersfield have had a good defensive set here. They're going to have to kick from deep inside their own half. Smith, it was hurried kick as well, but he finds the ground, the ball skips away and finds the touch.
Yeah, just came off the outside of his right boot, but got the good result. And again, put under a lot of pressure. No chance for Scott Grick to get anywhere near that. Now then they'll be hunting to force the error. Trying to get possession, something that they haven't had a lot of in the last 25 minutes in this game.
Well, 2 wins from their first 8 for Huddersfield this year. They started the season slowly, despite their big win at Wigan in week 1. And then they lost in the Cup to St Helens, 16-17 here. They actually were 10th in April, 5th after the Magic, 6th now, looking to go back to 5th again tonight with a win.
I think the pressure on the kicker then we saw from Big Earl Crabtree is a massive improvement from what we saw in the opening quarter of the of this game. That breaking play, though, as the ball went into touch, might just have worked a little bit, ironically, in the favour of the Wigan Warriors. If the ball had been caught and returned cleanly on the full, they just looked a little bit tired, didn't they?
Here's Crabtree being forced back by 2 or 3. Good play the ball away, though. Williams gets it a tackle in, but Lunt got it free just the same. And Michael Lawrence struggles to his feet. This is Bailey once again. Chris Bailey, he is the brother, of course, of the ex-Wigan man Phil. And here is Sean Lunt again. Gets the pass out wide. It untidily finds its way to Wardle.
Very fortunate there. That looked a high shot. Crowd don't like it. This is going to be a high one. No, they're going to the short line.
Oh, they've got a right pickle then. A right pickle.
Paul Anderson will be
for Wigan. They're going to get 6 more tackles here.
Oh, they are. Well, I was just going to say Paul Anderson will be furious that they went down on that short blind side.
Don Manfredi puts his arm around Ollie. You often see that. He's trying to deny the pass and knock it down as Sean Lunt releases it, but it hits his hand. The referee in touch should spot it. Got 6 more players. You know, you're not going to get that many start sets where you've got 6 players so close to Wigan's line. This could be a crucial 60 seconds here if the Giants can capitalise on it.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you, Phil, credit for your eyes, because there wasn't much in that, and I'll give this fellow, Ben Taylor, and his touch judge on this near side. Robert Hicks, isn't it?
Well, he had one to make up, didn't he, because he slightly missed the kick in the first half, and I think he's back to 0.
OK, the slate is wiped clean. Lunt then. Here comes Crabtree, 10 metres out, goes to ground. 2 tackles gone, 4 remaining. Lunt waiting again. Will give it to Danny Brough. And Brough then fires the pass. And there is Kyle Wood, and he goes down in the tackle from George Williams. Head bandaged after a bloody first half. This is Brough again, gets it away to Akumatai, who drops it.
It looked slightly forward as well. It looked as though Akumatai had just set off a little bit earlier. And that's probably the reason why Danny Brough is having a fair old go at him, but it looked forward.
Well, it didn't from that angle.
It was actually called forward by the officials.
See the officials on my side now, Eddie.
Well, I give you credit for your eyes now then. I never thought I'd ever do that, but I have.
Always comes a time. And boy, that's great relief as well from Wigan.
Paul, do you think you have to give Wigan some credit for the defence, or would you be critical of what Huddersfield have done there in those plays? The timing looked pedestrian in one of them.
A little bit of both, Phil. The Wigan players were in the right defensive position, but you saw the frustration on Danny Bro's face there. I mean, it's classed as a handling error. It actually should be a running line error in it, because McIntyre was nowhere near where he's supposed to be.
Tell you what, that was smart work, wasn't it, by the Wigan pack? They held the ball in the scrum, they caught the Giants offside, and now they're in a much better position.
Yes, they are, as Smith takes them over halfway. Williams, dummy half. Well, that could have been forward, and was. Williams to O'Loughlin was a forward pass.
And there's a problem for John Bateman as well. He's picked up a knock. You can see him there. Is not well. That was poor. That was poor by George Williams.
You know, he's made 34 tackles so far. He's playing as a hooker. He's a young man thrust into the middle of action, defensively working his socks off. Some of the subtleties he's doing when he's trying to create some little plays in space for his teammates are certainly not helping. And you just saw really here, John Bateman sort of tackled off the ball by Brett Ferris. I think he's released in the end, but seemed to be winded.
Well, they made the impact, and really, it certainly wouldn't do John Bateman any good. And he certainly made contact, didn't he, Brett Ferris? So that really should have been a penalty.
A penalty for poor anticipation. Anyway, it's head and feed to Huddersfield, as it turns out. And Brough will feed the scrum here. And here is Ferris. Little hand off and a beautiful ball around the corner. Wardle's on his way. Wardle beats Smithy Bone. Second try for Joe Wardle. Maybe a decisive try early in this second half. Brilliant, brilliant play from Brett Ferris. A handoff, and just when you have a look at the replay, watch the pass out of the back of his hand. And Wardle with far too much pace.
Well, he got away. You can see John Bateman. He's down there. That's the forward pass from Williams. And this is outstanding. This is the type of play that Palace produced last season. And there's no stopping Wardle. He has just blown through on an outstanding bend on goalie. Get out of the way and look at this. He sucks it, man, 3D. And Wardle said, I'm going for try number 2. Perfect. Top draw.
Exceptional piece of skill from Brett Ferris. If you're going to carry the ball with one hand into collision, you better be sure you release the ball with some quality. Play one from a scrum set. Does it get any better when a side can have the quality to score against a side usually as good defensively as the Wigan Warriors? Just exploiting there the inexperience of young Manfredi out on that right wing, but an exceptional piece of skill. Left hand, up, over, around, right clearly into the hands of that strapping centre Joe Wardle, and he was never going to be stopped from there.
And Brough has added the extras. It's 24-12, 10.5 minutes of this second half gone. Well,
what a change in attitude.
A real turnaround. 24 unanswered points from Huddersfield.
At 12-0, midway through that first half, you thought that the problems that the Giants have been going through, a lot of the fans were saying they're a little bit too soft. They haven't been soft tonight after that first 20 minutes.
They haven't, and with a scoreline like that, perhaps one or two Wiganers could be excused for heading for the exit, but surely not at this early stage.
Well, they certainly won't throw the towel in, that is for sure, but it's all about possession, getting over the advantage line, and they've done that with considerable ease over the last 20-30 minutes.
When you look at Huddersfield's first half to 2014, you know, the only team in the top 4 who've been good enough to beat them was St Helens last week. Maybe you could write that off. They've drawn with Leeds, they've beaten Castleford, and they've been to Wigan and won there. If they win here again, then I suppose you could say that some of the defeats have been blips, really, and they're just not been up to form, but they've gone up for the big games when they needed to, if they can continue on with this now for the next half an hour.
And Paul Anderson will always point forevermore to the impact that the World Cup at the end of last season had on this team. There were so many of his Huddersfield Giants playing for the many and various nations who were over here for the World Cup. Maybe they came in and they were just a little bit tired. Oh, Bowen has dropped one goal.
Oh boy, that's the pressure that can come to you. The first real opportunity in the second half when it looked as though they were getting to be constructive. And it's the basic principle, take your eye off the ball, you'll drop it.
Paul Anderson can take some credit as well, Eddie, for that substitution. It's changed the game. Big Earl Crabtree has been absolutely immense, and Brett Ferris has also stood up.
Yes, here is Crabtree, who plays the ball to Sean Lunt. And, Griggs has escaped the clutches. Good job that Jack Hughes was there.
He went out the line, didn't he, Anthony Gelling? You can't afford to do that against Huddersfield, that's running riot at the moment.
They're playing with confidence. They're playing like they played for much of 2013.
1 point.
Well, it would stretch the lead, wouldn't it? It's with Brough. He goes for it, does Brough, and he gets it once more. That means Wigan have now got to score 3 times.
Well, they drew the last time. They drew the last time it came here, didn't they? Leeds it was 12-all, and they had several attempts late on in that game. He's taken the pressure off here. He's gone for it rather early. And he knows that now psychologically his side can, I don't know, feel as though they've gained something from the dominance of the last few minutes. It might only be 1 point, but I think that's a significant one.
Yeah, we were last here March the 7th. It was 12-all against Leeds. We saw a thriller. And they've lost at home only once all year, but they've only won 2. They've drawn with Leeds, they've drawn with Hull Kingston Rovers. They've won both of the last 2 at home against Wakefield and Cass. On the way again to a victory here tonight. Let's just go down to Bill briefly.
The talisman is off worryingly for Wigan. Sean O'Loughlin, of course, came back tonight, has been replaced. Now, no suggestion that there's an injury involved or anything like that. I think possibly it's just a lack of match fitness catching up with him, so they're giving him a breather and hoping that Wigan Warriors can regroup. But they're facing a Huddersfield Giants side that is just growing in confidence as this game has progressed. It's all flooding back for them now.
Absolutely. Since the 18th minute when they went 12-0 down, they have been transformed. The substitutions have been mentioned by Paul Anderson. One of them has gone off, Earl Crabtree. He and Lunt and Patrick have certainly had a huge impact, and Matai, who's in the tackling there low down. And we're going to have it all to do now.
Certainly do, and it just shows you when you have the depth. And you've got to give Paul Anderson a lot of praise as well. He took the decision. He dropped 3 players. He wanted them get back on the horse, really sort themselves out.
But here come Wigan with Bowen, and Bowen has got the speedster Manfredi outside, and that's a great tackle by Danny Brough. That is a sensational tackle by the man of steel.
Well, he's not put his flag up. Is it still play on? The touch judge. Doesn't he have to put the flag up, Stuart?
It is, but I think he thought that the ball was passed in field before the ball carrier actually got out into touch.
So it's play on.
He was waiting for play on, but they've given the knock on because nobody was actually going to play it.
No, he was out. He was out, as it turned out.
But luckily, he passed the ball forward anyway.
Yeah, it was...
It would have been all right. The video referees would have spotted that.
You see it goes forward here.
Or does he get rid of the ball before his arm goes down?
But half his body was over the line and touching the ground.
I don't think he was. I think he was up.
Well, we're having an argument like the video referees now.
Well, good solid hard work there, and
isn't it out there?
That's out there.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one.
Here, I praise these two's eyesight.
Well, it's part of the course.
It's Messrs Stevenson and Mr Clark, of course.
Well, it is amazing, isn't it, that sometimes, you know, as a coach, you make the decision, you drop 3 players, and then you put good experience on the bench, and you say, right, we're 12-0 down, I may as well send them out. And boy, it's transformed this game, transformed the entire thinking on this Giants outfit, and you can see the expression on Sean Wayne's face. He knows he's been hammered tonight.
This is too deep from Danny Brough. Stuart, 9:30 in the morning, opticians make it?
If you like, yes. I don't. Okay. A good firm around, I think.
I don't think you're old enough to get them for free, are you?
Not quite.
Let's credit the discipline that we're now seeing from the Huddersfield Giants, that improvement that we asked for at the start of the game, that patience. A fraction long on the kick there from Danny Brough that gives possession back to the Wigan Warriors, but they're in good field position. It's a mark of the improvement, those key factors. No penalties on this set, fast off the line and pressure on the kicker. Wigan are dropping off, not because they're playing particularly poorly, but because the Huddersfield Giants, after the substitutions, are taking this game often.
Greg Burke is out there now that Sean O'Loughlin's taking a breather. Warrington leads tomorrow, don't forget. You've just seen the caption go through the bottom of the screen. It's 7:30 here on Sky Sports 1. Cracking matches this weekend. Mistake by Goulding. We're watching 4 of the top 6 this weekend.
It's been a huge problem, hasn't it, for Wigan tonight? They race into that 12-0 lead. It looks as though they're in full control, and all of a sudden they started knocking on forward passes, missed tackles. So unlike them. Remember, they've had to go through 3 weeks with most of their top stars, and they have produced. And I'm afraid they've come up against a side that have shown a lot more determination.
It's a transformed team, isn't it, from the one we saw last week at St Helens, wearing white tonight. Paul Anderson's worked hard this week.
Well, without a doubt, and for any side, and I think it's very much the case for the Wigan Warriors tonight, that always is a bridge too far. They couldn't have started this game any better, in my opinion. Their defensive appetite was there for all to see. They simply couldn't handle the switch when the substitutes were made. The power and pace made a massive impact.
Nice kick that bounced horribly for Manfredi. He dealt with it well, but he couldn't stop Joe Wardle and Brough affecting the tackle. Well, we're into Super League mode this week. Next week, of course, it is the Challenge Cup quarter-finals. We have 2 of them for you next Thursday, just before 8 o'clock, Sky Sports 1. The Vikings against the Cougars, Widnes against Keighley, and then on Friday, if Lee win again this weekend in the Championship, their unbeaten record goes on the line at the Leeds Rhinos. 7:55 again, this time though on Sky Sports 3.
Well, just over 20 minutes remaining for Wigan to get back into some sort of rhythm. It really has been a stop-start affair after those 2 wonderful tries. Just lost concentration. I mentioned it before that too many errors, too many missed tackles, and not good field position. That's down to solid defence.
Well, it is, but you would write Wigan off at your peril with 20.5 minutes remaining. If anybody can, this team can. Here is Dudson, his 100th career appearance tonight. Will play the ball to Sam Powell. Now it's Jack Hughes. Wood is there. Lawrence round his ankles. Cudjoe up top as well. Referee shouts held. He will play it here. And that was Ryan Hampshire. And the kick over the top is looking for Manfredi.
It's got it.
Manfredi has got it. What a brilliant try this is going to be. What a try from Manfredi. Well, the odds were against him, but he leapt higher than anybody. And Dominic Manfredi, well, tremendous. The only game he's missed out of the last half dozen was the defeat at Leeds. And what about this for a try? This could spark something.
Tremendous stuff. Beautiful kick by Matty Smith. He rose between the 2 of them and got Wigan back into this game. And how important does that drop goal from Danny Brough look, and may change the complexion? You can see Danny Brough, he tried to just put him off Manfredi. He tried to body check him, but what a take. Nervous moments for the Giants.
Yes, it swings one way and then the other, doesn't it, this match? Told you not to write the Wigan Warriors off.
Well, the flow of the game's gone in 20-minute chunks, hasn't it? The first 20 minutes was all about the Wigan Warriors. And then the next 20, well, Huddersfield's come back. And for the first 20 minutes of the second half, we've seen the Giants. In fact, we've all been talking about how good they are, and maybe this is a comeback. But the final quarter, could be if Wigan can find some energy again here now and some urgency. I always thought perhaps one of the young players might reignite them. Maybe Ryan Hampshire, Joe Burgess, but it's Dominic Manfredi on the right wing who does remarkably well here to catch the ball. I think when he takes off, he only throws the right arm out, but he pulls it in, grounds it successfully, and he's given his teammates a real chance.
He has, but Matty Smith has missed the conversion. It's 25-16 to Huddersfield. But it's down to 2 scores. It was 3 a moment or 2 ago. Now it's just 2.
They could have done with that conversion. And Matty Smith and Sean Wayne, the coach, is fully aware of that. Now it's back to basics for the Giants. We keep praising about their solid defence, and that's what they've got to continue on with. And most of all, concentration. Don't give away a silly penalty. So important you keep Wigan in their own half when it comes to the last kick.
That drop goal from Danny Brough could be so important. It was a 1-point ball game when they played Castleford Tigers here in their last appearance on this ground. Now it's 25-16. And here's a penalty to Wigan. This will help them.
Again, lack of concentration.
I think you've got to give John Bateman some credit. He's the best player on the field, isn't it? They can't handle him. He got him out of their own half a few minutes ago to get them downfield. He's just done it again.
And he's been out on his feet a few times, Phil. He's having a real fight here. The battle between Bateman and Brett Ferris is absolutely mouth-watering.
Well, here come Wigan. They're inside the quarter. The Huddersfield quarter, that is. And the pass from Matty Smith found its way to Crosby, who will play the ball to Powell. Back it will come to Smith. And Bowen. Oh, if that would have just stuck, Manfredi was in. It took a little flick on the way out to Manfredi as well from a Wigan arm, but it went backwards. 17 to go, 9 points in it. Powell at dummy half. Here is Smith again. Smith starting to pull the strings. Greg Burke is out there. Greg Burke, who has not played in the Wigan first team since the 2nd of March. This is Smith again. He gets it to Ryan Hampshire. Lawrence gets to him, and Hampshire is pulled to ground. But they're 5 metres away with 2 tackles in the bank. This is Smith. He'll drift the kick in. This is dangerous. And they're going to get the repeat set.
Well, Wigan didn't panic. They didn't go for the glory. They knew that they needed another set of 6. And that's the reason why Matty Smith used the brains. Perfect weight into the in-goal area.
Well, Ukumatai had to take the tackle, and suddenly the crowd here with Huddersfield colours have gone a little bit quiet because they sense that Wigan are coming back into this match as each minute passes. And
there's
it's not over yet.
No, and there's plenty of minutes remaining, Eddie.
I think it's fair to say in the opening quarter it took a lot out of Wigan to score those 12 points and defend as manfully as they did. We're now going to see how much it's taken out of the Huddersfield Giants to score those 25 unanswered points.
Well, here is Powell again. He gets the ball away to Hampshire. Hampshire then to Smith. And Smith gives it to Bateman. And he attracts 3 and he keeps going. He keeps making ground towards the Huddersfield line. Down he goes. Look where they are. They're just 1.5 meters away. That was Goulding. This now Smith. Smith then finds Hampshire once more. Hampshire to Hughes. And Hughes has lost it. And the first knock on by Wigan, I think he said, and this will be head and feed to Huddersfield, and this is precious for the Giants.
Good work by Leroy Cudjoe as well. He got right into the face here. Hampshire offloads, and you can see there's no chance for Jack Hughes to make any movement forward. Good impact by Cudjoe.
He just needed a tighter line, Mike, didn't he? When Hampshire straightened up on that arc and gone for the inside shoulder, well, Hughes had to replicate it exactly. He just stayed a little bit too wide and got too close to his defender.
Well, Big Earl's come back. They had a good spell when he came off the bench first time, and he's returned. He's had a breather, and there he is, straight back into the thick of the action.
It's important now that the Giants get their jumpers dirty. That means get through solid hard work, and he's worked hard, hasn't he? Chris Bailey always does. An unsung hero at times, and really digs deep.
Josh Johnson for Huddersfield, but not making much progress further forward. O'Loughlin off the field, taking a well-earned breather. Matty Smith is the engineer-in-chief out there. Ryan Hampshire, though, with the tackle on Sean Lunt. They're still inside their own half of the field, and Brough gets a kick away, tries to get it over the head of Manfredi. Manfredi picks it out of the air again, then sets off on a run himself. And Ikuma tied it well then. Just halted his progress. Brough finished him off. This is Matty Bowen now. Ducks underneath the arm of Ikuma tie. Good job he did as well. 14 minutes remaining. The clock important for both sides. For Wigan to get back into the match, for Huddersfield to hang on. We were talking earlier as though Huddersfield were walking away with this match. No any longer, as Smith gets it to Hampshire. Here is Hughes.
Good discipline again in the Giants' defence. Nobody's coming out of the line. They realise that they're under pressure.
Hampshire again to Smith. Here is Bateman. Oh, he passed that to himself. That was Rangi Chase.
Well, I think he wanted...
That was a bigger version of Rangi Chase.
I think he wanted to give it to Matty Smith and then realised Smith had gone. This is a high one into the corner.
Yeah, good kick from Matty Smith. Well claimed by McGilvray. He wasn't going to let that one bounce.
No, he was calm, cool and collected there. Oh!
It came off Cudjoe over the top to Ferris.
Boy, he can do without that. He wanted to run around in Smith. Good job that Bateman got a second go at it.
Did well to keep a grip on that ball, Mike, didn't he? The intensity in this match is exactly what we wanted. Post state of origin, where intensity is the currency. Great to see both these sides. No one walking away for it. Both standing toe to toe and toe to toe and slugging it out.
So 12.5 minutes of the match remaining. And Brough from inside his own 40 humps it downfield, but doesn't quite get the angle right. It's all right.
It's a great kick, Eddie. Look at the chase. There was 9 Giant players there chasing that. That just shows you the confidence that you get from leading by 25 points to 16. They know they're not safe yet. Great defence.
Was legs lifted on Manfredi, but perfectly legal according to Ben Taylor.
It's the second time, Eddie, that Danny Brough's done that and then let go. Smart enough to lift the leg and even smarter to let go of it.
Good run from Crosby. They need to get a link out wide though, Wigan. They realise they've got to keep this ball moving.
And here they go with Gelling, who gets it wide to Burgess. Burgess, it was a fly hack from him. And here goes Michael Lawrence down the wing. Jermaine McGilvray, I beg your pardon. Jermaine McGilvray will scoot in. Jermaine McGilvray scoots in behind the sticks. And probably all but wins the match, providing it came out cleanly around that far side. And Jermaine stayed with his feet this side of the whitewash. It was tiptoe time down that white line.
Well, that's all they need to look at, is whether or not he was in touch.
That's a knock on.
There's a knock on there by Burgess. What happens here?
Oh.
Well, so far so good.
He's miles away.
A mile. Oh.
Yeah, it's fine.
Hang on. Yes, he's coming in field.
This is TRY time, and this surely should seal it. It wasn't the best attempt, was it?
Well, he got a hat-trick in the win at Wigan. Looks like he's just maybe scored a crucial one here.
And the decision is try.
Yes, he tiptoed all the way down. He stayed the right side of the line, and he gets the try right behind the sticks that should just seal it for the Giants. And they're on their way to home and away doubles in Super League against Wigan for the second time in successive years.
Not the best attempt, was it, by Joe Burgess to try to get a kick away. In fact, I think he completely missed it. McGilvray didn't. He knew he was pretty close to the whitewash. Just shows you. Great stuff. The fans love it.
Try is added, the goal is added to the try, 6 points, 31-16. Now that just might be a bridge too far for Wigan.
Well, on Sky Sports News before the game, and Kirsty Gallagher asked me who was going to win tonight, and I did say the Huddersfield Giants, although I tipped Salford last week, so I was going to get it right sooner or later. Wigan had won 11 of the last 12 matches, but it's too hard to continue to win every week at this level. We've seen Daryl Goulding drop the ball cold, Matthew Bowen drop it cold, and Joe Burgess missed the ball there when he tried to kick it through. Sooner or later, Wigan could continue to play at the high levels they had. Errors had to occur, and Huddersfield have pit them here on a great night.
Yes, a great night for Huddersfield, but we've got some Wigan news coming in from Bill.
Yeah, it's been a draining night for the Wigan Warriors, and of course they've got one eye on their Challenge Cup quarter-final coming up next weekend, and Sean O'Loughlin, no sign of him coming back, and young Bateman has come off as well. John Bateman, who has been outstanding, not just tonight, but he was outstanding on man of the match in the game against Salford. Still a young player, really punches above his weight, but I think he's punched himself virtually to a standstill now.
Yes, they play Castleford next week, and Blake Green saying this week he hopes to be back in time for the semi-final should Wigan make it. The Castleford Tigers lie in wait next week. Brough off the outside of his boot, only as far as Bowen. Good chase.
Yeah,
Brough leading the way.
Good hits as well, helped out by Joe Wardle. 2 tries from Wardle tonight. What a turnaround. Wigan 12 points in front, looked as though they were cruising, and all of a sudden Paul Anderson threw in the substitution. It was a huge gamble. He knew he had to do something, and boy, look at the scoreline. It worked.
Yes, less than 9 minutes to go, and Leeds Huddersfield is the next Super League appointment for us on Thursday the 12th of June, Sky Sports 2 at 7:30. This is the week after the Challenge Cup, when Castleford go back to Wigan in Super League. Friday the 13th, unlucky for some. Again, we're concentrating on the top 6 next week, or the week after next.
And you know, this is a desperate win for the Giants. If they would have lost tonight and then lose in a fortnight's time against Leeds, they could have seen themselves outside of the 8. Who would have thought that after their opening win against Wigan?
A huge performance for them, Mike, isn't it? No game next week. They have a rest when the Challenge Cup quarter-finals take place. Conceded 41 points last week against St Helens, and the coach has been very vocal and very clear publicly with how disappointed he was with the efforts of his charges, and they stood up tonight.
And so has this big fella as well. You talk about an enormous impact. He came off that bench and he created all sorts of havoc in this Wigan defence. Not happy with a few things. Handbags in the back play. He knows how to do it, doesn't he?
Great kick, just wind the clock down.
Man of steel for nothing. You know, when they get in front, when he's in that mood, he can control the game all on his own, and he's done that.
And yet when they went 12 down, he had a right face on.
He did.
Tackles were being missed all over the place, but somehow he's got them going again.
Well, Paul Anderson has done it. Simple as that. He brought on the big Crabtree. We saw Sean Ludd come out, Lan Patrick, Kamate. I mean, they were the people that really turned it around. They started getting over the advantage line.
I don't wish to upset you, I don't wish to annoy you, but Earl Crabtree just packed down then in the hooking role for Huddersfield.
Oh, don't get me started.
Well, I didn't want to.
But you have.
Actually, to be fair, we all do want to upset you, but there you go. And Earl certainly has by packing down there.
I've seen scrum halves, full-backs, centres, you name it.
We've now seen a big prop. Here's Daryl Goulding.
Look at that defence. Swarming. You couldn't see a beehive last week.
Good hit. Good hit by Lan Patrick, the man with no number on his back. And there was no way forward for Gil Dutson then.
Should have been penalised. He was all over the top of it. Got away with it. Dutson had a look at the official.
Smith with a kick out wide looking for Burgess. Burgess knocks it on. Gelling picks up, but it's got to come back.
But you've got to give a lot of credit. We're trying something a little bit different. Burgess couldn't handle it.
I know it's unthinkable, but do you think at 12-0 Wigan thought it was going to be an easy night?
No, I think simply the big victories against Leeds and against Salford that we've seen in the last couple of weeks have simply taken their toll, especially when you've got 8 or 9 of your best players, arguably, I'll say that in inverted commas, sat in the stand. Huddersfield did well, I think, to withstand that opening 20 minutes. I thought Wigan were outstanding for most of it. They simply couldn't hold on when Huddersfield changed the bench. For me, what I like about Huddersfield is that they've been very disciplined on the back of that change of movement, been very patient, and they've upped their intensity in defence. They get a week off next week before they take on the Leeds Rhinos. I'm for them.
Yeah, another huge test.
And this was a good ploy by Anderson to throw this fella back into the scene. Luke Robinson.
Now then, the referee will bring them back because it came off the dummy runner. It was meant to go out wide for Wardle.
He knows the opportunity has gone. And I think he was trying to link up with the fullback Scott Griggs coming in on the angle.
Well, Ferris got in the way.
Well, he's big enough to get in the way.
Paul Anderson giving a lot of credit for this fight-back win from being 12 down, the 2013 Coach of the Year. 21 wins from 27 in the season past. And as a player, he won League and Cup doubles twice, Bradford 2003 and Saints 2006. As a player, can he take the Huddersfield Giants the extra step in 2014, take them all the way to Old Trafford? For them, it's all that's left, of course. They're out of the Cup. And as the lads have been saying, they have a week off next week, then they will come back to take on the Leeds Rhinos. And he'll be fancying his chances going there.
Well, this was a strip, and I'm afraid the official hasn't seen it. It's amazing how things can just go against you at 12-0 up, remember. There was an incident where the official thought there'd been a knock-on. It didn't appear that way when we saw the replay. And from there on in, Wigan then started piling up the errors, knocking on forward passes.
And Huddersfield have not looked back. Here is Michael Lawrence. Robinson waits just over halfway. Bailey.
I think the pleasing thing for Paul Anderson will be that the ability for his side to share the workload as well. You know, they really have dug deep. Heads haven't gone down, even though they were down 12-0.
Oh, brilliant take by Ferris. Burke was to him, though, very quickly. Ferris just had to check his run, ready to take that in, but somehow it stuck in one hand. Crabtree, short ball from him. Patrick. They're 20 metres away, and we're at tackle number 4. Robinson. Here's Brough, and finds Ferris this time. And Goulding found Ferris. Wardle. Here comes the last tackle then for the Giants. A nice little chip, but in the end, easy for the Wigan defence.
I think the Huddersfield coach will also be happy with the fact that, according to our records, Wigan haven't made a break, Eddie, since the 20th minute. That's almost an hour, really, with the Wigan Warriors moving the ball around left to right, trying little tricky plays in the middle, and without the try, really, that we've seen from the kick to Dominic Manfredi, they haven't really been challenged and threatened that often. Here's a penalty, and Wigan might want to send their supporters home a little happier. They can come up with a final try, but it won't be enough to win this match.
Well, I think when Burgess failed to get a good kick away, and McGilvray just trotted away at 31-16, they'd feel pretty confident about it. But they're working hard still.
Powell to Taylor. Less than 2 minutes remaining. Huddersfield have won. They're up to 5th in the table. And we all know what happens when teams from West Yorkshire finish 5th at the end of a Super League season, weekly rounds.
You talk about defence, Eddie. I think we've got Lawrence for 45 tackles and Bailey for 38. And they really have been the mainstay in defence, haven't they? Though they'll score here.
They will with Joe Burgess. There is the consolation. Consolation in the corner for Burgess. More clean breaks than any other player in Super League this year. And the try against Huddersfield in round 1, he really hasn't looked back since.
Well, you can see there that's the first time in the last 30 minutes that the Huddersfield defence has jumped out and has not gone through as a unit. You can see that Wood had gone early. He failed to make it. He was always going to squeeze in at the corner. And this is the first time in the second half that, as I said, the Giants in a little bit of disarray in regards to the defensive pattern. But it is mere consolation, as Eddie has already mentioned.
Well, it is, but when you consider it's 5 tries to 4 in Huddersfield's favour, it looks big on the scoreboard, but it's a narrow winning margin, really, for the Huddersfield Giants. 5 tries to 4 tells its own story. Wigan have been close, and Smith this time adds the extras. Well, Joe Burgess, say, hasn't looked back since the first week of the campaign, and it's 31-22.
What a game he has had. You talk about last week, a lot of people thought they were a little bit soft in the belly. Boy, Crabtree, he's been really, really heavy tonight.
So a victory for the Huddersfield Giants, which means a lot to the local folk. And Danny Brough at the heart of it all. And Ken Davey with something to smile about this week. He wasn't smiling too much when he left Langtree Park this time last week. But the Huddersfield Giants have won. They've beaten the champions. And before tonight it was 11 wins for Wigan from 17 visits here since 1998. Well, the ledger has been squared a little bit more in Huddersfield's favour. I think these two will be in the mix come the end of the year. They will be hunting Old Trafford, the two of them. From where, we will have to wait and see. But Huddersfield up to 5th in the table and desperate in 2014 not to suffer the biggest ever season-on-season drop by a leading team. Bradford went from 1st to 5th in 1998. It is an unwanted record. And there is the man of the match, Big Earl, talking to Big Bill.
Thanks, Ed. That was a bit more like it, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit happy with that. I think Baloo will be a little bit more pleased as well, and maybe a little bit more of a positive team talk after. I think we needed to, question ourselves a little bit and put in a big performance. I think we did that tonight.
It didn't look that promising at the start. You started slowly again.
Do you know what? These are decent players, young, enthusiastic. We had to match that early door, so we knew they'd come hard. But it's pretty tough for them to back up after a great performance last week. We knew that if we come out tonight, play well, then we stand a chance. It's probably the best we've played in a long while.
There was a lot of talk in the build-up to this, Earl, about what was needed from the Giants, and it was all about really intensity and lifting your game, wasn't it? Because you fell way off last week.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there, to be honest. And again, those questions are about intent and getting off the line and actually making efforts to be a bit more forceful in the game and create our own luck, and we haven't done that in the past. Today, against the youngsters, bearing in mind, we did that, and it's something that we need to work on even more.
Thanks, Earl. Well done on the man of the match performance. Run close by Luke Robinson. Let's bring Luke in. Little and large, he says. Just as effective, just as effective. How important do you think that is to come back to answer your critics like that tonight?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the critics, I don't really care about what you lot say on Sky. And
it's your own coach.
And I don't, look, we keep it in-house, and we know we've not been up to par this year, but, you don't automatically from in a couple of weeks, you don't go from the penthouse to the doghouse, and vice versa. We're not going to get carried away by this game. It's a step in the right direction, more of the Giants stuff, really. We played with a bit more effort and enthusiasm, and when we do that, we're a difficult team to beat.
Hooker tonight, well, you started off there. You're happy wherever you are?
I quite enjoy the hooking role. I've been one of them, obviously. I don't mind where I play, really. If we're winning and I'm playing well, I don't mind. But look, well, I'll do whatever's best for the team. At this moment in time, it's for me to go in there, then so be it.
What about Earl packing down as hooker late on in the game?
Yeah, it's slightly different body shape to me, isn't it? Little and large, so yeah. It's a ploy, really. We usually just probably put him in there, give him a bit of a breather.
Thanks, Luke. Well done tonight. Thanks to Sean O'Loughlin for talking to us. But was that maybe a very tough few weeks catching up with a Wigan side that's
you know, running out of troops?
I don't know. I think we played a little bit dumb today. We come up against a good Huddersfield side today. Them losing last week, we knew they were going to respond to that and put in a good performance. And yeah, we was under par today, and they played well.
How about you? Back after a layoff, how did that feel?
Yeah, it was good to get out there again. His performance a bit disappointing, but yeah, the body's pulled through all right. So yeah, hoping I can.
So what wasn't you coming off? Wasn't a concern? Was that just it catching up with you?
Yeah, that was just the lungs after not playing for so long. But you know, the body feels good.
Thanks, Sean. Well done.
Cheers. Thank you.
Well, let's hope from Wigan's point of view he's fit for the cup tie and for the back end of this Super League season. But there is the man of the match, Big Earl Crabtree, coming off the bench as well tonight to win the man of the match award. And so another famous win for the Giants against the Wigan Warriors. They won home and away in Super League 2013. They've done it again in 2014. And this will do them the world of good. Unfinished business for them, and there was unfinished business here at the John Smith Stadium tonight for the Huddersfield Giants. We're into extra time now, live from the stadium, looking back on a Huddersfield victory against Wigan for the second time in 2014. There are the stark details of the victory: 31 points to 22, 5 tries to 4. Half-time 18-12 to Huddersfield. They battled back into the match after trailing 12-0. Phil Clark here with the other salient points.
Well, sometimes the final score doesn't accurately reflect how the game's gone. Tonight it clearly did. Everything was very similar for both the sides with the possession and the field position. The only significant difference were the breaks made by the home side. And at the end of the game, you typically expect them to win by about 8 points, which is what they did. I think this will rebuild the confidence for the second half of 2014.
That's the story of the match. Now let's have it analysed, shall we? Particularly the second half. Here's John and Brian.
Yes, thanks very much, Eddie. When we last spoke to you, it was 18 points to 12 in favour of the Huddersfield Giants, and that was stretched out. The last man to score the try in the first half was Joe Wardle. He got back on the score sheet 8 minutes into the second half. That coming after a Joe Burgess opportunity and then plenty of Wigan defence. Huddersfield struck then, pushed it out to 24-12, and Wigan were uphill from there, John.
Yeah, even at 18-12, Wigan looked to be pushing it a little bit. They made a couple of errors prior to their first, and this is the shame of it. Such an innocuous-looking error. It was a forward pass, but midfield, not an awful lot riding on this, I don't think. But how they can be magnified when you give someone with the quality of Brett Ferris the chance. Gets on the outside of Goulding and then puts Wardle away, which shows real pace. I was surprised that saw the pace coming from him. He crossed for his second try. And that was game done, or game near enough done. 24-12. Danny Bruff slops over a drop goal, doesn't he?
Drop one over, and then Dom Manfredi came back in with a score for Wigan that perhaps suggested there might be that comeback that Danny Bruff's decision to kick for one would suggest that Huddersfield thought would be coming.
We can have a conversation about this. We did before we came on about the merits or otherwise of dropping a goal on 52 minutes. You've got to side with Danny Bruff. Huddersfield won, but the psychology behind that fascinates me. Let's have a look at the Manfredi try though, because again we were talking about Matty Smith, weren't we, pre-game, on the losing side tonight, but I thought he still played well. You got a little bit out of him, and that looks like a running play until he chooses the look up, puts it on a plate, and that is, for an inexperienced player, that is a very, very well taken try. Almost a one-handed take, deserves every credit he will get for that. Not much I wouldn't have thought on the team bus back home, but maybe in the weeks to come.
That made it 25 points to 16, and the game really was done and dusted when Jermaine McGilvery on the right edge went over and really sealed this significant win for Huddersfield.
Not much to say on this one. We'll just picture out a nice shot, have him running down the touchline towards us, because it came from a Wigan area. Wigan desperate at this point. And the kick just didn't come off for Burgess. Did very well to keep himself in play. And the man who scored 3 tries in round 1 against Wigan at the DW Stadium gets on the scoreboard again with the second to last try this evening.
And the performance from Huddersfield a little more like that first round performance?
Yeah, particularly defence. I thought the defence was very good, very solid. They'd obviously tightened up around the ruck. Wigan off a lot of the same sort of threats as St Helens did last week. That's a big step in the right direction.
Well, we'll see what their coach Paul Anderson made of it. He's downstairs now talking to Bill.
Paul, you were looking for a response after what happened against St Helens, and you certainly got that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the secret last week was after the game against St Helens, I just went in there and I said, look, I'm sick of talking, it's time for actions. Obviously, selection dictated that as well, and the actions came from the players. So today, I've been accused in the last few weeks, or I've accused our players of winning games on just poor talent and not putting the effort in. And tonight, we won a game on effort, not talent, which is more pleasing, again, especially against a good team.
You went 12-0 down, and then in quick succession on came Crabtree, Lunt and Larne Patrick, and they had a big impact.
They're good players, aren't they? They are good players, and what I wanted